Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic / Non-Classic. This is episode number 1202. I'm used to saying 1100 and whatever because I was in 1100 for quite a while. Yep. But now I'm in the 1200s. This is episode 1202 and Doubleshot number 1096. I got two Marvel trades. First up, it is New Avengers, Volume 7, The Trust. This collects New Avengers 32, 37, and Avengers A number 2. If you're curious though, wait, you're at this point and where's the first issue for New Avengers? Well, there's a reason why it's not in the Avengers trades. Because it's actually in the Pulse. Yep, it's in the Pulse. The reason why it's in the Pulse, so I think it's in the second, third volume of the trade series. The reason why, because the annual is the marriage of Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, with the guy who basically ministered the wedding is a Stanley, basically who's Stanley lookalike, and of course Danny Rand is the best man at the wedding. Yep, this storyline picks up exactly where the last story left off, where, well, they found an Electros Scroll. They take her body back to the U.S. because what else they could do with it? And of course, Echo is back on the team officially, and she stays on the team at this point. Well, up until up until Secret Invasion, because after that she's off the team because she got moved on the Moon Knight. But I'll discuss that a later date by Moon Knight if I get a chance to get my hands on it. So they went back to the U.S. and they discussed to figure out what they can do with the body. And Spider-Woman says, "Why not just take it to Tony Stark?" And Luke Cage, he's probably replaced by the Skrull too. So the plane ends up crashing. By the way, this is Iron Fist's plane. Ends up crashing. Why? Because of Ultron. Yep, Ultron is basically causing havoc in the United States. So while Luke Cage's Avengers were off in Japan, Iron Man's Avengers were basically dealing with Ultron, though they're led by Miss Marvel. And of course, well, the plane gets wrecked, and they're in Chicago of all places, and Spider-Man takes the Electro Scroll with her, and that leads into basically what goes on in Mighty Avengers, with her joining the roster, not revealing what the New Avengers team is. And then we have the next portion taking place during the second arc of Mighty Avengers, the symbiote invasion. Yep. And while this is going on, of course, everybody goes back to their headquarters, which is Doctor Strange's Sanctorium, this is their base up until after Secret Invasion, which they moved it to the current Captain America's apartment. That's where they move it to, and that's where their base is up until the end of the volume when they move into the Avengers Mansion. Yeah, because they're at someone else's place, not official Avengers location. Yeah, there's a joke about the Secret Avengers in here, which I thought was so hilarious. I like the fact they referenced Secret Avengers, but I thought it was kind of dumb that they basically treat it as a joke, despite the fact it was basically characters are just basically randomly summoned just to deal with some threat, someone by Doctor Strange deal with some one threat, and that's it. Yep. Now, Wolverine basically got praised for this. We also see the first appearance in the series of the Hood. Yes, the Hood. He was a character created by Kyle Holtz and Brian King Von back in 2002. And Bendis decided to take him. Now, I asked Kyle Holtz how do you feel about basically, making the Hood a crime boss. He has no problem with it. He never had a problem with it at all. He was okay with it. So basically, with the first appearance of, not the Hood per se, he made his first appearance prior to this. We see the first appearance of his gang, which is referred to as his criminal empire, which is comprised of pretty much almost all the C-list villains in the Marvel Universe. Yeah, and he also kills the Owl, though the Owl was fine after this, he's still alive. And they also apparently got his hands on the Luther Manning Deathlock. Yeah, and he's somehow alive despite the fact he's been dead since the 70s. Yeah, this is never actually explained how they had got hands on it. And he wants to use it to attack Stark Tower. And, he kind of does, though they had a team up with Tony Stark's Avengers. Though Miss Marvel was like, you can get away because we have more stuff to deal with, more bullcrap. Yeah, and because of all the Secret Invasion stuff coming up, that Carol does not have the heart in her to have the Luke Cage Avengers be arrested. Why? Because you know who she can trust. Yep. Oh yeah, it's also revealed that, Danielle Cage basically, that's her name, and they think it's named after Danny Bonaducci from the Partridge Family, but it's really named after Iron Fist, Luke Cage's best friend. Great book, love it, and well, can't wait to get my hands on Volume 8, which is actually just before the Secret Invasion. I think Volume 8 is Secret Invasion. This book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Fantastic book. Yeah, Bendis does the writing for the book with Leno Francis Yu on the artwork and Carlo Bardavia on the interior artwork too. Yeah. Oh yeah, and also this is before. Yeah, Spider-Man's like I gotta get home later. So yeah, this is just before the events of One More Day. Yep. Yeah, that's basically where this takes place. This is just before the events of One More Day. Him going home, and that leads into what happens One More Day with his identity being restored being secret. Alright, next up is the book also featuring Iron Fist. This is Power Man and Iron Fist. The Comedy of Death. This collects the 5-issue miniseries second volume of the series. Yes, the second volume, because the original volume was basically, the numbering was a continuation of the Luke Cage The Hero for Hire series, which has been renamed a couple times. The reason why they renamed it to this title originally was because both the Luke Cage Soul series and Iron Fist basically suffered low sales, so they merged both titles. Yep. This book is mostly just, now, the Power Man here is not Luke Cage. Nope, this is a new one named Victor Alvarez, who made his first appearance in Shadowland. He's created by, this miniseries is written by one of his co-creators, Fred Van Lin. Great writer. Has basically tongue-in-cheek style of comedy to which, that's what basically he's known for, and that's what the original Power Man Fist series basically was known for. Which, great choice for Fred Van Lin. And basically, Power Man is simply Iron Fist is his teacher. Basically, he's a student. Yes, and this is a fantastic miniseries. Does it lead anywhere? No. I kind of wish at the time this was an ongoing series because this was so good. Though I love the cover. All new, different. Yeah, that's actually a tagline they used. They all new, all different. Yeah, that's the same tagline they used for King X-Men, so why not do a Power Man Fist? Yep. Now, this is basically them working together on a case, dealing with some other supernatural villains. Yeah, and some of the stuff in here is mentioned in the third volume Power Man Fist, though with Luke Cage back in the Power Man role, not Victor Alvarez. Yeah, if in case you don't know who this guy is, he's the son of an old Luke Cage supporting character, Shades. Yeah, he's his son. Shades was killed in Shadowland. And Shadowland is where he first showed up and he appeared in this miniseries. And after that, nothing. Yeah. Actually, no, he did show up in Avengers Academy after this. And after that, he did nothing up until he joined Al Ewing's Mighty Avengers book. That's where his next appearance was, basically at Avengers Academy wrapped up. And after that book ended, then it was New Avengers, and after New Avengers ended, then he did nothing. Yeah, he's a character who's gotten through some development. Heck, at one point in this miniseries, he had a girlfriend, which the other writers ignored, because they hooked up with White Tiger, which that was an interesting choice. I didn't have a problem with the relationship because they teased that. Yeah, Al Ewing teased that throughout the entirety of his run for Mighty Avengers before they finally hooked up. And they're still together, despite the fact she's no longer a White Tiger. What he's doing now is completely unknown. As in the case of Iron Fist, he's still around. Great book. Give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Fantastic book. Okay, so that's a particular review. I might have time to do another review tonight. It just depends. But if I do, I'll see you there. If not, tomorrow, along with Fire Force tomorrow, okay? But as the case of Comic Corners, this is probably my last one for a bit because I'm pretty much, for the first time in about a month, I'm out of trade paperbacks. Yes, I am completely out. Yep, but until the next video, maybe later on today, okay? Bye.